Hello everyone, this is Hassan from WhatsApp Media Network. We're coming live today, Heike, with a special show talking about resources available for businesses here in Dearborn. I'm glad and I'm honored and pleased to be joined by some distinguished guests today who will basically enlighten us on some of the resources available for businesses, especially in this hard times that going through. Especially small businesses. There is a lot of resources out there, especially in Dearborn. So I'm going to bring to the screen with me, we have Hassan, Jeff, and Faye. Hello, everyone.
Good evening.
Hello.
How are you, Hassan?
أهلا وسهلا. أكيد رمضان كريم for everyone. إن شاء الله إفطار مبارك وشهي. الله يتقبل صيامكم. Today's show is going to be in English as much as possible. If there is anything in Arabic that I can translate, I'm going to try my best to translate. I'm going to give each one of you about 15 seconds to introduce yourself, and I'll start by ladies first. So we'll go with you, Faye, then Hassan, then Jeff, then Hassan, if you don't mind. Go ahead.
Thank you, Hassan. My name is Faye Beydoun. I'm the executive director of the American Arab Chamber of Commerce, and tonight, the majority of the time, we're going to be talking about a small relief grant program for businesses located directly in Dearborn, and I've had the pleasure and the honor of working with Jeff and Hassan on that.
Nice. Jeff?
Good evening. I'm Jeff Watson. I'm the Director of Economic and Community Development for the City of Dearborn, and very pleased to be here tonight. Very pleased to have the opportunity to share information with small businesses in Dearborn that we are hoping to provide some support and assistance for.
Hassan?
Good evening, everybody. My name is Hassan Sheikh. I am the Deputy Director of Economic and Community Development for the City of Dearborn. I have had the honor and pleasure to work with Faye and Jeff on this grant, and I'm looking forward to sharing some information with our local business owners so we can make sure that they apply.
Okay, great. Like Faye mentioned, we're going to focus, probably the majority of our time in the beginning to talk about the relief grant that was introduced a few days ago, if I'm not mistaken. So please, let's go into details about that. People heard there is a 5,000. Is it 5,000 or it's up to 5,000? That's one. We're going to talk about requirements. We're going to talk about the deadline because I heard the deadline is coming very soon, and everything about the grant. So please go ahead, guys.
Well, thank you very much, Hassan. And again, I'm very pleased to be here tonight, and I appreciate this opportunity. I'm very pleased to be on with Faye and Hassan. So, the grant is it's a partnership of the City of Dearborn, the Arab Chamber of Commerce, the Dearborn Chamber of Commerce, Access, the Downtown Development Authorities in Dearborn, as well as the Corridor Authorities. It's a very strong partnership that we've come together with, and very pleased to be working with everyone. It's a grant program that is supported by the New Economy Initiative, which is a philanthropy that supports entrepreneurial businesses and entrepreneurial efforts in Southeast Michigan. So we're very pleased to be receiving resources from them, and very pleased to be working with them. As you pointed out, the grant is going to be available for up to $5,000 for the businesses that are successful. We are really trying to reach out to small businesses, sole proprietors, service businesses, loan eagles, makers, restaurants, that kind of thing. In general, businesses that have 17 employees or less.
Okay.
And so we really are looking for those businesses that we know have been really hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic and are either closed or are working, shorter schedule, that kind of thing. So Hassan, are there other things that you'd like to share?
Yeah, definitely. So working with everybody, we're all on the same page. We see our business community really hurting right now. And, our business community here in Dearborn is the heart and soul of our city. We want to make sure that we're doing what we can to provide them the resources to at least stay afloat, to get through this pandemic and make sure that we're coming on the other side and, at least in a situation where we can thrive.
Yes.
We are, with this grant, we are, there have been other grants available through Wayne County, but not everybody's been able to receive one. So we want to make sure that we're providing opportunities for businesses that may not have received a grant, prior, that they can go after this one and hopefully receive it. We want to make sure, that we're getting the word out as much as possible so everybody knows to apply. It will be closing this Friday at noon. So we want to make sure that everybody gets their application in there prior to Friday. If you have 17 employees or less, you are eligible. If you're a local business, Jeff listed off a bunch of different types of businesses. You're all eligible as long as you're a small business with 17 employees or less. So please go there and apply.
I'd like to clarify a few things.
Yeah.
One is that I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Jeff and Hassan, but if you are a franchisee, you do not qualify for this?
That is correct. There are a number of types of businesses that would not qualify, or a number of types of organizations. Franchisees are one, nonprofit organizations are another. So that there are a handful of certain kinds of organizations that are not eligible.
I've kind of been getting mixed signals. I thought nonprofits with 17 and under can apply.
No, that is not correct.
They cannot.
Not eligible to apply.
So the priority businesses that we're targeting are service businesses, freelancers, creative industries, makers, home-based businesses, small businesses with physical locations, specifically in Dearborn. We want to make sure that they're in Dearborn. We've had a few calls from the City of Dearborn Heights. Unfortunately, it's for Dearborn only. Restaurants, other food prepared businesses, retail businesses, and again, home-based businesses are eligible. So if you own a home-based business, make sure you apply.
I think one of the things that's also important here to emphasize, saying what you said about the deadline. Yes, it is a very short deadline. The applications opened on Monday morning. They close on Friday. The point really is for us to get the funds out into the community, get them helping those businesses, so that those businesses that are hurting are able to get at least a little bit of breathing room. So we know that we can't do everything for every business, but we want to be able to support them to the extent that we can, and we really want to get the funds out there quickly.
What time does it close on Friday?
Noon.
Mm-hmm. Noon. So if you are a Dearborn-based business, you have less than 17 employees, you need to apply by noon on Friday to be considered for that. Does everybody that apply get the loan?
Unfortunately.
It's a grant, right? Just so we can.
It's a grant. I apologize. Does everybody that apply get the grant?
That is correct. It is a grant.
Which means that you do not have to repay it back.
That is correct. There is no repayment required. I think it's important to share, though, that just because it's a grant doesn't mean that it's kind of that you can use the money in any way that you want. The money really is intended for operating expenses of the business, things like rent, utilities, inventory, those kinds of things. It's really important to emphasize that to those that are thinking about applying. That is correct.
How are you going to make sure? How are you going to make sure that basically people use it the right way that it's intended to use? Like you're saying, they have to use it on utilities, payroll, or rent. How are we going to make sure this is how they're going to use it? Are you going to ask them to provide documentation after they get provided with the grant?
Yes, we will have a grant agreement that those who are awarded grants will have to sign, and it will essentially lay out what the requirements for that spending are. It really is very broad. I don't want to make it sound like it's this very narrow band that is limited to just a handful of things, but we do want to emphasize that it's a grant to help the small businesses and help them with expenses they have that the COVID-19 pandemic has created difficulty for them with.
How are you guys gonna grade those applications? I mean, is there any pointers that's gonna stand out and they're gonna make a difference in an application? If so, what are those points?
Yeah, so it will be based on a scoring process. There will be a certain criteria that we'll be looking at as we score the applications. Just a few items that will disqualify you are if you're not a Dearborn-based business, you will be disqualified. If you have received a grant prior from Wayne County, specifically the Michigan Small Business Relief Grant and/or the Small Business Relief Loan Fund, you will not be eligible. So those are some basic items that will disqualify you. Through the rest of the process in the application, based on your answer, you'll get a certain amount of points. And we're really trying to target businesses that can save the most amount of jobs. One, two, the need, right? We're looking at which businesses have the most amount of need as well. And so it's going to be really imperative that we look through the application and go through the process to make sure that those that with the most amount of need and can save the most amount of jobs are looked at with the highest priority.
Does Uber or Lyft can apply? They're asking. Tagreed is asking.
Uber or Lyft drivers, can they apply?
That's a good question. That's not one that we had discussed. As contractors, I would say, yeah, they probably can, but that's something that I think we'll have to get an answer to that question and get that out into the public very quickly.
Is there like a, I mean, we are doing this live stream now and people can ask questions, but is there like an email or phone number that people can, send their questions to basically if they have any question about the grant?
Generally, the grant criteria are on the Access website. There's a page for it, the Dearborn Small Business Relief Grant page, and it really outlines all of the criteria, what kinds of businesses are eligible, priority businesses, that kind of thing, and then of course there's a link to the grant application. The grant application is all online and is submitted online, so that's where people can go to get their questions about the grant and the application answered.
So the deadline is on Friday at noon. How quick are we expecting people to hear back in regards to the results?
We hope to begin to notify folks. The second week in May would be the Monday after Mother's Day, to begin to notify folks. That's our target. But part of it will depend upon how many applications we get ultimately. And I'm very, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword. I'm very pleased and at the same time disappointed to say that late this afternoon we had over 500 applications. I say I'm very pleased because I'm glad that the word is getting out and businesses are aware of it and able to take advantage. I'm disappointed that so many businesses are in a position that they're having difficulty and they need help right now. So, but we also see it as a great opportunity to reach out to the business community to help in any way that we can.
And to add to that, Jeff, our department, the Economic Community Development Department here in the City of Dearborn, we're a resource, and we're here to help, guide our businesses, especially in the process when we're looking towards the future of reopening. This grant can be used towards restocking when the executive order will be lifted as well. So that's another item that this grant can be used towards.
Okay.
So
go ahead.
Hassan.
I was gonna tell people that I'm gonna translate in Arabic in a bit. أكيد رح ترجم بالعربي شوي بعد شوي هلا، بس عم بحاول أخلص كل فقرة بفقرتها. يعني عم نتحدث أول شيء عن الجرانت، سو بس نخلص الحديث عن الجرانت بعملكم مثل سمري، مثل خلاصة عن النقط اللي حكينا فيها وبعطيكم اياها باللغه العربيه، بس لحتى ما اطش باك اند فورس. واكيد انا بتمنى منكم انه تعملوا تكتبوا اسئلتكم. عم شوف بعض الاشخاص عم يكتبوا الاسئله تبعهم، بتمنى انه تكملوا تكتبوا اسئلتكم، وكمان تعملوا شير لهذه الحلقه لاهميتها كمان ولاهميه المعلومات. تفضلي في جو احد.
I was actually going to talk a little bit more about more. So I think this is a great time for us to kind of update our our Arabic speaking audience, and then see if they have any questions, and then we can talk about more resources.
اوكي، اكيد كنا عم نحكي نحن بالقسم الاول من هيدي البث المباشر بالنسبه للجرانت اللي هي المنحه الماليه اللي انشئت في مدينه ديربون من خلال بعض الجمعيات الغير ربحيه ومن خلال مركز مدينه ديربون، اللي توحدوا جميعا لحتى يقوموا بهيدي المنحه الماليه اللي تبلغ قيمتها لحد ال 5000. سو بتبلش يعني باكثر شيء 5000 ممكن تحصل عليه $5000. هيدي المنحه الماليه فيكم تعبوا عليها من خلال الويب سايت تبع اكسس. موجودين المعلومات من خلال الجمعيات، من خلال الشامبر اوف كوميرس، الامريكان ارب شامبر اوف كوميرس، من خلال كل الجمعيات المشتركه بهيدي المنحه الماليه. الديدلاين لحتى تعبوا عليها، يعني اخر تاريخ فيكم تعبوا عليه هو نهار الجمعه، هيدي الجمعه، يعني بعد يومين تقريبا الساعه 12 الظهر بتسكر هيدي الطلبات، ما عادش بيتقبلوا طلبات. فكتير مهم اللي عنده شركه مؤسسه فيها 17 عامل او اقل يعبوا على هيدي المنحه الماليه. منهم طالبين معلومات كثيره، بس بيسالوكم معلومات عن الشركه تبعكم، كم فيها، شو اسمها، وين المركز تبعها. لازم يكون مركزها بمدينه ديربورن، لازم يكون عندها اكشلي مركز بمدينه ديربورن، موجوده بمدينه ديربورن. وبيطلبوا منكم معلومات، بعتقد بيطلبوا منكم كمان التاكس تبع البزنس لسنه 2019 اذا معبيين 2019. واذا انتم ضمن حدود الفقر بيطلبوا منكم، بيعطيكم ارقام، بيطلبوا منكم كمان انه تعطوا البيرسونال تاكس تبعكم لسنه 2019 اذا معبيين على 2019. اهم نقطه بدي ركز عليها انا انه الاخر وقت لتعبوا لهيدي المنحه للشركات الموجوده بمدينه ديربورن هو نهار الجمعه ب 1 ماي، يعني ماي 1 نهار الجمعه الساعه 12 عصرا بتسكر الابلكيشن، وما عادش فيكم تقدموا ولا طلب على هيدي الابلكيشن. فهيدي بشكل ملخص عن المنحه الماليه للبزانس، يعني للشركات فقط في مدينه ديربورن، بس حصرا لمدينه ديربورن، لا ديربورن هايس، لا ميلفندال، لا اي مدينه اخرى، بس للشركات الموجوده بمدينه ديربورن. هيدا جرانت، يعني منحه ماليه موجود بس لكم لحتى تستفيدوا منه. اكيد نحن رح نتحدث هلا بعد شوي بالقسم الثاني من الحلقه على موارد ثانيين وريسورسز ثانيين موجودين اللي فيها البزنسز، الشركات الموجوده بديربورن وبرات ديربورن يعبوا عليها. خلينا we're gonna move to our do you guys want to add anything to the grant before we move to the next point?
I just want to thank Jeff and Hassan on their leadership on making sure that the businesses in the city of Dearborn, this is not enough to help everybody, but something is better than nothing at all. And it's through their leadership that we're able to bring this resource to the businesses in Dearborn. So we want to thank them very much for that.
Thank you for your time.
And I just want to say, as the American Arab Chamber of Commerce, we've got some great partners that are working with this that Jeff had named earlier on this. But in addition to that, the American Arab Chamber has also been working with Wayne County, and Wayne County still has the loans through TCF that are available. Mm-hmm. So our businesses in Dearborn can also apply, and other than Dearborn, if you're a business that's located in Wayne County, you can still apply for the TCF Wayne County grant. Just go to the TCF website and you'll find the instructions of where to go there and to apply. But in addition, this is different than the PPP. In addition to that, the PPP also opened up this Monday, and people can apply for that again. And I strongly urge businesses to apply now, because that money again will also run out.
To follow up on that, there's I think an important new aspect to that, at least in Dearborn. An organization called the National Development Council is coming into Dearborn, and this is an organization that's been around for more than 50 years. Is an SBA lender that can also do PPP loans, and so if people are looking for an alternative to a bank, or if they've had difficulty with the bank, they can reach out to the National Development Council. Their website address is www.ndconline.org/PPP for their loan program. So I encourage folks to reach out to them as well.
Very
Thank
good.
you, Jeff. Yeah.
اكيد في كنت عم تحكي عن انه كمان غير الجرانت المنحه الماليه الموجوده من مدينه ديربورن، كمان في لون اللي هو قرض مالي فيكم تاخذوه من خلال وين كاونتي، من خلال تي سي اف بانك. الفائده الماليه على هيدي اللون كتير بسيطه، يعني ماكسيموم 2% على مده، اذا ماني غلطان اول سنه بس انترست عليها يا في only first year interest، اذا ماني غلطان على تي سي اف.
I believe that the first 6 months that you don't have to pay any interest, but and then if you keep it, otherwise the interest is very, very low. That's on it.
Okay, you're correct. The first 6 months there's no interest.
Yeah.
Very good. واكيد القسم الثاني اللي حكيت عنه في هو البي بي بي لون. هيدا اللون باي تشيك بروتكشن بروجرام. هيدا للاشخاص اللي بعدهم فاتحين الشركه تبعهم وبعدهم موظفين اشخاص على البيرول تبعهم. طلع اول حزمه من هيدا اللون، خلص المصاري تبعه بسرعه دغري لانه كثير بزنسز عبت عليه، فالكونغرس رجع طلعوا حزمه ثانيه ورح تفتح الابلكيشن. فتحت الابلكيشن اوريدي نهار الاثنين في على ما اعتقد.
Yeah, it opened up, and they're predicting within 10 days it will be gone.
وزن عم تحكي فيه انه بعد يمكن عم يتوقعوا انه من هون ل 10 ايام انه كمان هودي المصاري الثانيين رجعوا ضخوها اللي بيطلعوا تقريبا شي 350 بليون دولار اذا ماني غلطان بالبي بي بي لون. يمكن يروحوا هالمصريات لانه قد ما في بزنس عم بتعبي، قد ما في شركات عم بتعبي على هيدا اللون، فكتير مهم.
But if somebody had applied before, Hassan, and they're in the system, then they're going to be one of the first ones they look at as they're processing these new loans now.
Okay.
So if you've already applied and you're in the system and you're just waiting for them to look at that, for the SBA to look at it, then you're fine. They'll be one of the first ones that they look at.
Okay.
Otherwise, if you haven't applied, you need to apply.
Okay. أكيد فيني عبو, you guys can apply through your banks. يعني إذا أنت مع Bank of America or Chase or whatever bank you bank with, make sure you reach out to them. Make sure you tell them I'm interested in applying for the PPP loan, and they should be able to help you. I heard it's only a 10-minute application, and then after that they request some information and documentation from you. Mahdi is asking.
I'm sorry. In addition to that, it's really important that they're focusing on the smaller banks. If you have a credit union that's an SBA lender, you can apply through them also.
Okay.
And so any of the smaller banks, if they're an SBA lender, you can apply through them also. You can apply through a bank that is not your bank, but the banks are prioritizing their own customers first.
So فيكم تعبوا على البنك اذا انتم حتى مش زبائن عنده، بس البنك هو عم بيفضل يكونوا الاول شيء عم بيعطي افضليه للزبائن اللي هن بيتعاملوا معه قبل ما يعطي الزباين الثانيين. في بالنسبه لل Mahdi is asking what's going to be forgiven from the PPP loan.
If you keep the same amount of employees that you had previously for 6 months after this, and the amount of the PP, and you use the money to either pay for utilities or rent and things that are listed that meet their criteria, then that amount that they gave you would be forgiven.
Okay, very good.
You just have to follow the rules.
Okay, as you guys heard, Jeff, Hassan, and Faye, the governor started slowly to ease up some of her restriction on the stay-at-home order. She allowed some businesses to open. Today, she announced that she's going to allow, starting May 7, the construction business to start working. As the governor slowly opens up the state, I mean, how should businesses be prepared, Dearborn or outside of Dearborn?
I think it's a really good question, Hussein. It's something that we've been talking about for the last week and a half, and looking at the kinds of things that we expect businesses to have to be prepared for when they open up. Even though the governor is opening businesses up, I think businesses are still going to have to deal with some of the public health protocols, things like social distancing and masks, possibly gloves, as well as dealing with how is that going to affect their capacity, those kinds of things. So we've been talking about how can we best support businesses as they begin to reopen, regardless of what kind of business they are, and we're going to begin to reach out to businesses to better understand, what particular types of businesses, what the needs are. So I think there are a lot of different aspects that'll apply depending upon what kind of business. Whether folks are in the restaurant business or whether they're a retail business, that kind of thing. So we're preparing ourselves to help business in any way that we can.
And I think a lot of that's going to come from the governor also. To give an example for the people that own restaurants, for the restaurant business, in a lot of the other states, what they're doing is they can only have seating capacity for 25% of what their restaurant can hold, so that they maintain the social distancing. So they no longer can have a full house, everybody just come in and sit. They have to maintain only maybe 25 or 30% so people can sit spread apart. There are some materials and maybe some plastic and some other things that some of the businesses might have to buy in order to be prepared to be open. So once the governor sends the guidelines, then businesses can kind of start preparing, but they need to know now that they will have to invest probably something and be prepared in order to be able to open up for business again.
That's absolutely correct. There's going to be a lot of moving parts. We're going to have the governor's orders and the guidelines that we're going to have to follow. Then looking at what specifically is needed here in Dearborn with our business owners. There's going to be certain items that are specifically unique to Dearborn, and we want to make sure that we're having an open conversation with our business owners to make sure that we are meeting all the needs of our business owners.
Very good. And I'd like to mention that today also the governor had put out a new program. If we have businesses in Dearborn that have a childcare, there is a program that is coming that's going to be $130 million that's dedicated specifically to childcare facilities. So please go to the state of Michigan, take a look at that and see how you're able to apply and how you're able to get some of that money if you own a childcare business. In addition to that, I know that Senator Gary Peters has been working really, really hard, and he is coming up with a program that he is going to be sending out more information on that's specific to nonprofits and to religious institutions. So in addition to businesses, nonprofits and religious institutions like the mosques and the churches and so forth, there's going to be specific funding for those also.
So when we talk resources, other than the grant that you guys listed, other than the PPP, that we mentioned, what are the resources available? I know Jeff and Hassan, you guys lead the economic development department here in the city of Dearborn. Faye, you're a pillar in economy here in the state of Michigan. What are the resources available? I know that small businesses took a big hit from this, and somebody sent me a message right now. They're saying they are in the real estate market, and they also took a big hit because now, based on the stay-at-home order, they're not able to show houses, and they're not able. Because they're not showing houses, they're not listing houses because they don't want to list houses. What can you tell those businesses who are hurt?
It's going to be a long process.
Yeah.
I don't think once they lift the stay-at-home order and we're able to go back out and we start opening the economy, we start opening businesses, it's not going to come back to the way that it was overnight. It's going to take us 3, 4, 5, 6 months to be able to come back. It's going to take that business that's been shut down for 1 month, 2 months, time to regain their customers again.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to, as far as like the state of Michigan, the federal government, our senators, our elected officials, the same thing. I know that Jeff and Hassan are already looking at this. We're going to have to take a look. How do you continue to support businesses with more resources for the next 6 months to keep our economy moving and to help them get back on their feet to where we were before all this started?
Definitely.
So it's a long process. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. Once the ban is lifted, right, businesses are not going to start making money right away.
Yeah,
I think they have to be very realistic about that. We have to be realistic about that. And I think it's up to our senators and our congresspeople to start creating programs that are going to meet those needs from now.
I think Faye is absolutely right about that, and we're seeing an example of that as as some of the states are trying to open up, and there's encouragement from the White House for some businesses to open up. And part of what the pushback is people aren't necessarily ready to just jump right out and be in a public place and, gee, I'm going to go out and I'm going to go to a restaurant, I'm going to go to a movie, I'm going to go bowling, whatever happens to be. I think people are being very cautious, and that'll be another part of the challenges that businesses will have to deal with as this unfolds very slowly, because I don't think it's going to be like people are shot out of a cannon when businesses open up. People are they're gonna move slowly, and I think that I speaking for myself personally, going out and paying attention to the public health protocols, the social distancing, the masks, etc. I am cautious and will continue to be a little bit cautious about it. My wife and I are certainly trying to support the small businesses that are open. We order takeout from some of the restaurants and that kind of thing. And I think that's going to continue for a while. So that's another part of the challenge that we're going to have to work through.
Jeff, you're absolutely correct. Right now, we're in the middle of a pandemic that we haven't seen before. And society is not going to just open right back up. It's going to be like a merry-go-round where when it's going, but it takes a little bit to get to that speed, right? We're going to want to make sure that we're doing everything possible to get it there. And we're going to be working with everybody to do that. However, we need to be realistic about, what this process is going to look like. We're going to need everybody's, everybody on board, everybody's help, but at the same time, we need to be realistic again.
Hassan, go ahead, Faye. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, in addition to that, Jeff is making a great point. In addition to that, just think about our personal lives. We can't have these 1,000, 2,000 people weddings. The funerals where we're all sitting shoulder to shoulder. All the hookah lounges, everything that we do also impacts the businesses that run these facilities to where we go and do these things. I don't see sporting events opening up for a very long time. So our lives will be different for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
Hassan, were you saying something?
Yeah, I canceled my boy's birthday party. And and I know that that venue, I'm sure that they lost a lot of events during that time period, as did many banquet halls and many restaurants and many venues. That's it's a great point. Now, what will the process look like to make sure that the city can allow for these businesses to open up? What will the licensing permits look like? As Jeff stated earlier, what will there be a difference in capacity levels now with the social distancing laws? A lot is going to be, put in place, and we need to make sure that we're doing it right. Because if we don't do it right, we're looking at a potential second wave, and we don't want that.
I want to focus on. Go ahead.
And so one of the things that the chamber is also looking at is how do you help to make sure that a lot of these businesses don't close because of all of this? And I'm sure that Hassan and Jeff will be on board with that, and that's why they're great. They're a great resource for us to also work with and talking to these businesses, finding out what the needs are, and what can we put in place to help them to make sure that our businesses don't close.
Very good. I want to get to our listener just so I can get them familiar with what you guys do at your office, Hassan and Jeff, if possible, especially who are especially Hassan and Jeff, this is the first time you guys appear on WhatsApp Media Network. So we want to make sure they understand how you guys can help them if they own a business. So if you can tell me a bit, what are the resources available and how can your office help businesses in Dearborn? How's the relation is?
Well, it's a little bit challenging to contact us directly right now because we're all working from home. Okay. But we're available via email. We're available via telephone. If you call our telephone numbers at the office, it will transfer to our cell phones at home and that kind of thing. So we're absolutely available to folks very much. In fact, I've been getting calls from folks that are asking about, are asking questions like, well, when is the city going to begin to open back up with construction and doing inspections and permits and that kind of thing, and as they brought up, the governor, it looks like, is going to be opening up things for construction work, and I think it's a very timely decision on her part because we're moving into the construction season, and to the extent that construction businesses need to be busy, this is the time. This is the time. So,
Jeff, she's got to fix the roads.
We've got that going, and I think another thing to emphasize, what Faye said a minute ago is we continue to work in partnership with the chambers and with the Downtown Development Association, with Access and others, looking for resources and what we can. What we can bring forward in order to help the businesses. So, those are, a handful of things that people can do to reach out to us. Hassan, are there things that you think I've missed here?
Definitely. No, I wouldn't say missed, but I would like to call our department the Swiss Army knife of city government. We have our hands in a little bit of everything, right? We're here for the businesses. We're here for the nonprofits. We're here for the community. Whether it's planning, zoning, we're part of a little bit of everything. The downtowns, corridors, we do a little bit of everything. If you're looking for business resources, if you go to our website, you can find a list of the websites there as well, or the resource websites there. You can feel free to email myself and Jeff, as Jeff stated. My email address is Sheikh, SHEIKH, ci.dearborn.mi.us. Feel free to send me an email. Feel free to send Jeff an email. We'll reply back to you in a very timely manner. We're working from home now, so it feels like we're working 24/7. But during this time period, that's what's needed. And we're here for the community, and we want to make sure that we're providing the community with all the necessities that we can provide.
Yeah. My email address is jwatson, that's JWATSON @ci.dearborn.mi.us.
Very good. The same thing for you, Faye. I know the Chamber has been very involved in a lot of the projects. One of them is the grant that we just spoke about in the beginning of the show, and you've been on top of it, sending resources and emails to your database. Tell me how the Chamber is helping its members and the community in these hard times.
Well, the Chamber has members all over the state of Michigan, and then international members. The majority of our membership is in the Southeast Michigan area. We're headquartered out of Dearborn. Dearborn is our home and our heart, and this is where our base is. We have been in talks with MEDC. We've been in talks with the state of Michigan in talking to them as to the needs of the ethnic business owner. Mm-hmm. And how do you communicate with them, and how do we make sure that they don't get missed and that they are part of the solutions that are put on the table? We've been talking to Senator Stabenow, Senator Peters' staff in regards to policy and who's being missed. We worked with Wayne County. They did a survey to the small businesses as to see what the needs are of small business. We've been talking to some of the banks because honestly, I don't think that with all the resources that are out there right now, I don't think enough of it is hitting our community, the Arab American community. I don't think enough is being done to make sure that they get a piece of the pie and a share of this.
Okay. I know I want to.
So we're out here lobbying for that.
How can people reach out to you, Faye?
I'm very easily also to reach. They can email me at Faye Beydoun, FAYBEYDOUN. That's a BE, not a BA. BEYDOUN at.
I write your name as a BA, but
yes, that's all right.
Come on,
at AmericanArab.com. So it's all one word, AmericanArab.com. They can go on the Chamber website, which is www.americanarab.com. We have information and resources there too. But they're welcome to email me and we'll connect them. And one of the things we're doing is also sending out the emails for our international group, but also for our local group, and helping them to also get resources and be aware of the resources that are out there. And I encourage every business owner to just kind of keep looking everywhere that they can, what the resources are, and to be applying, because you don't know what's going to be coming at us. Just apply for everything.
Yeah. Some of the businesses, Faye, Jeff, and Hassan, and we've read stuff, and people send us stuff all the time, and they reach out to us. They're saying we applied for Wayne County grant, we applied for the PPP, we applied for this and that. However, we're getting declined for all of them. How can we survive during this time if we're getting declined from everyone? What should we do? What can you guys tell them?
I just want to say that there's not enough money that's being put out there for everybody. People might not be getting declined because they didn't give all the right information. There's just not enough money out there. So we have to start being more creative. And this is why, Jeff and Hassan and the City of Dearborn is working with NEI, and they're being creative as to what other resources can we bring to the table. At the end of the day, each business owner has to evaluate their business and know that this is not a short term. They have to have a long-term plan in place to survive.
You're absolutely correct. At the end of the day, we recognize the fact that there isn't enough money to go around. The SBA loan ran out, and we were seeing all these things happening, which is again why we brought all of our partners to the table. Jeff and I, working with our partners to see what we can do, and we're going to continue to be creative. We're going to continue to try to figure out ways to help our businesses. We're not going to stop trying. That's for sure. We're going to make sure that we're at the table, and we're going to continue to try to figure out ways to help. As Faye said, this is going to be something that it's going to be long term. So it's proper planning, and that again, reach out to us, and we'll be we use this as a resource to plan.
Two people are asking two different questions. One is asking about the hookah lounges and can they apply for that grant, and the other one is
how about if they are a registered business, they file income tax, they do all that. Yes.
Is it the same answer apply for a photographer or videographer?
If he's a registered business, he's got an LLC, he's got an ID number, he filed his taxes, the answer is yes.
100% yes, as long as.
So self-employed, I know one of the questions was about Lyft and Uber. Those are considered self-employed. 1099 independent contractors. Are we going to get back to them? How quick can we get the answers to them by tomorrow?
We'll get answers out there tomorrow morning.
Very good, very good.
Can I just encourage all the self-employed to apply for unemployment?
Apply for unemployment?
Because they get that $600 extra a week if they do. And I believe 2 weeks ago, last week, Monday, the state of Michigan opened it up so where if you are self-employed, you can now apply for unemployment. In the past, you could not, but right now you can. So I encourage any self-employed person to go ahead and apply for unemployment.
Very good. You're 100% right. I want to keep this one short. I want to end by one thing, because I know this thing that I'm going to ask you guys about right now, and I'm going to ask you to send a message to the community, affects everything that we do in our life, especially in cities like us. I want you guys to send a message to the community about Census 2020 before we end. Please, if you guys don't mind. Tell them how important this thing is.
Hassan?
I would love to.
All yours. Go for it, Hassan.
Every 10 years, the census comes around. And last census, we were undercounted. There were a lot of dollars, a lot of federal dollars that were left on the table. We can't let that happen again. Those are dollars that go towards our roads, towards our schools, resources that we can provide to the city. Everybody needs to go out and fill out their census. It's imperative. It's important. We're doing it for the betterment of the community. We need that money to invest back into the community.
So the federal government gives each city money based on how many people have answered the census, or the state. That's why it is so important in order for the city and the state to be able to provide services and to provide money for its residents, they have to be counted. We have to complete the forms, turn them in, and so that they can show the true numbers of how many people live in the state, so that we can get funding for all those numbers. And what's the deadline, Hassan? By when do we have to complete the census?
So it's going to be towards midsummer, but they're talking about potential extension. So keep an eye out for that. You can fill it out via mail, via phone, as well as online. The online is the easiest route. They've made it very easy. It literally takes 5 to 10 minutes. Very, very simple. 10 questions. Go ahead and fill it out.
Hassan, do you know by any chance what's the percentage of people who already filled it out in Dearborn?
Currently, right now, it's in the 50s. It's in the 50%, high 50s. We're trying to get that higher, right? And it was Census Day was April 1st, and with COVID coming into play and a lot of different hindrances, we're trying to figure out a way to make sure that we're getting to everybody and getting the word out. So we're going to need everybody to make sure that their families are filling it out, their friends are filling it out. We need all hands on deck. Go and let 5 people to know. Make sure you're filling out your census, and that will mean something.
We'll talk more about.
I'd like to just one last point with regard to the census that I think is very important that people understand too. In addition to the funding that both Hassan and Faye talked about, is it was originally and continues to be a determinant of representation in Washington.
Right.
Yes.
Part of the House of Representatives, and so I want to encourage people that complying with the census and participating puts us in a better position to retain the representation we have, which is important to getting the kinds of funds that we have enjoyed and want to maximize to help our communities in Southeast Michigan.
Very good, very good. We'll talk more about census in the coming days, and we've been trying as much as possible to educate our community about it and let them know this is private. Nobody is going to access your information. Even if you don't have a green card, even if you don't have a citizenship, you should be basically filling out the forms. So inshallah, we'll talk more about the census. I want to wrap up this live stream. Can we do like a summary, if you guys would like? Faye, can we do like a wrap up for this by reminding everyone about the topic?
Yeah, totally understand there's not enough resources out there. But don't get discouraged. Apply. Have all your documents in place. Apply for anything and everything that you can apply for. And we're all in this together. We're here to support each other. We're here to help each other. And whatever we can do, we will be there for you.
Hassan?
Make sure that you apply for the grant by noon this Friday. That is the deadline. We want to see as many people apply as possible. As Faye said, we understand that the resources, are dwindling, but we're at the table trying to figure out ways for people to be helped. And we're not going to stop trying, and we're in this together. And we're going to make sure that everybody, is going to be at the table, and we're going to come through this together.
Jeff?
Just to follow up what Faye said. Yes, there are not enough resources, but please do understand that while the resources are small, we continue to look for resources in every nook and cranny and looking to bring forward whatever resources we can to help our small business community in Dearborn.
Very good. I want to thank you guys for joining me on a short notice. Hopefully we were able to help you guys get the message out to the community about the resources available, especially the grant. I want to remind everyone, and echo, Faye and Hassan and Jeff, please go ahead and apply as quick as possible. Do not delay it. Do not wait. When there is an opportunity that opens up, as soon as it opens up, be ready to apply, because you're not the only way that's going to apply for those resources. There is hundreds of businesses that's going to apply, especially in this hard time. Everyone is facing some hardship. So please, as soon as you see there is an opportunity, be as proactive as possible. Get your documents ready, apply, fill out, and make sure you follow the guidelines and you follow everything and the requirements that they're asking.
Hassan, I just want to say thank you for everything that you do and helping us to keep the community informed.
Definitely. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hussein, thank you for the opportunity tonight. Very much appreciated.
Thank you, guys. This was it for us. We've talked about grants, especially the Dearborn Relief Grant. Again, deadline is this Friday by noon. Make sure you apply. We spoke about some of the resources for businesses in Dearborn and outside of Dearborn. We spoke about plans to reopen the state and how businesses should be ready. And we touched base on some of other stuff. You can watch this live stream. It's going to be available on our Facebook page. As soon as we're done, you can watch the whole thing again. It's available on our YouTube page right now. It aired at the same time. And it's also available on our website, www.whatsappmedianetwork.com. Until tomorrow, good evening, everyone, and good night. تصبحون على ألف خير. إلى اللقاء.
Thank you.
Thank you.